It's very nice to be here. I feel I should say sorry to begin with, because I completely understand that hearing the name Tony Wright and being greeted by this image is not easy to cope with. Those things don't go together, and I kind of like that, you know, because I really hope that somewhere in, say, South London, there's a really big, white, burly Cockney bloke called Taj Singh. And, you know, he's just walking about like fucking immigrants. Coming over here, stealing our names. You know. I just really enjoy that. Of course, not everyone can accept the whole name thing, right? So I'll tell you about this night out I had back a few months ago back home in Kent. And it was in this club called The Royal. And the reason I like the name of that place, because everybody in there was the exact opposite of that description. But I met two people that evening, two people. The first one, I'm going to assume he was a drug dealer. And I know that's awful. It's awful to assume. But his opening gambit was, "Oi, mate, do you want to buy some chamber?" So I think my intuition was correct. I didn't know what chamber meant, so I got my phone out, right, and I Googled it. And Urban Dictionary told me that chamber means either cocaine or anal sex. So I said yes. Hedged my bets. I got cocaine, very disappointed, if I'm honest. But then it came to meeting the second person of the evening. This is the one I wanted to tell you about, because I was in the toilet, like, freshening up, sorting my hair out on that, as you do. And the door flies open, right, and this lad walks in looking like what I could only describe as an emoji with a short back and sides. And he was not very happy. He was not very happy. And he approached me and he said, "Lad, you're doing it all wrong. You're doing it all wrong. Don't worry, I'll sort you out." And he just started doing my hair for me. Proper weird stuff. And at the end of that, he extends his hand and says, "I'm Jay. What's your name?" I said, "Tony. Nice to meet you." He said, "Oh, good one. Seriously, what is it?" And I said, "I'm not lying to you, mate. That is my name." He said, "I don't believe you." I said, "Well, why don't you believe me?" He said, "You don't look like a Tony." I said, "Well, what do I look like then?" He said, "I don't know. Nadeem?" Weren't happy about that, so I argued with him for a good few minutes, and at the end of the argument, he just said, "Well, Raj, or whatever your name is, see you later." And that's it. Disappeared. Last I saw of him. And there's two things that really confuse me about Jay. And the first one is, how do you walk into a public toilet, approach a stranger, start molesting their scalp, and then be the one to say, "Nah, there's something not right about you"? And the second thing was, he didn't even have a piss. I mean, that's weird, isn't it? That is not okay. It's strange. But I've been really enjoying being up here in Edinburgh, in Fringe. I like Edinburgh anyway, like Fringe time, outside of Fringe time. And I got the opportunity to gig in Edinburgh a few months ago, outside of Fringe time. And I didn't have anywhere to stay, and I've got family in Glasgow, so I went and stayed in Glasgow, travelling for the day to do the gig. And doing comedy is the only really thing, it's amazing that I can get to, you know, see that all these different cities, and I get to compare cities as well. So I get to Edinburgh, and it's like, oh, this place is so beautiful and artsy and historical and amazing. And then I get to Glasgow, and I saw a cab which said, "People make Glasgow," written on the side of it. And I thought, well, can they unmake it? Because it's an absolute fucking shithole. Oh, that place is bad. I'm sorry if you're from there, but it looks like an industrial Primark. People just shoving shit everywhere. Oh, I wasn't very pleased, if I'm honest. And that's literally the end of that bit. It's just a rant, not comedy. But I'll let you in on the secret, right? I don't want to talk too much about race, but I'll let you in on the secret. I'm actually half English and half Somali. It's a strange one, isn't it? You don't suspect that. Well, I'll tell you, along with that information, I was also born and raised in a white working-class family down south. White mum, white dad. I suppose you're thinking, how on earth does that happen then? Long story, let's just say there was an unofficial third party. Someone's been lying. What I'm getting at, it was my dad came home with a brown child, like, "He's definitely yours, Carol." It was you might like this. You might like this. Honest truth, no joke. My nan's name is Eileen Wright. It's good, isn't it? Eileen Wright. And I just find it so ironic because she recently suffered a stroke. Oh, okay. Don't turn on me now, we're having fun. You'll be happy to know that Eileen's okay. She's fine. She's doing good. I do those jokes about her because she's quite like a dominant, assertive woman, so those jokes are kind of to level the balance. And I'm ashamed about that follow-up joke. But yeah, she likes to make herself known. And that begs me to ask the question, do you know when they say, like, you know which family member's coming down the stairs just by the sound? Would you agree with that? Yeah, I'd agree with it. Because I know exactly when my brother's coming down the stairs, because I'll hear a and then the sound of his wheelchair. Oh, I do feel bad about that one. But we're having fun, aren't we? He's not. I'll tell you about this as well. I realised those last few jokes, they're quite horrible. Quite horrible. I realise I can be quite a bad person. And I've been trying to make myself better. And so I want to tell you about an incident. Well, not necessarily incident, but you can be the judge of whether I'm trying to be a better person. So it was end of uni. I'm getting in a cab home. And so I get in the cab, and we start a conversation. So the cab driver looks in his mirror and says, "So, I bet you're sick of seeing all these foreign cab drivers about, huh?" I said, "No, of course not. Why would I have a problem with foreign cab drivers? I mean, I'm mixed race myself. We've got to stick together." He says, okay. You raise a good point. You know who'd agree with you? My husband. I said, "I'm not judging. I'm happy for you. I think the steps we're making towards real equality is fantastic. But it angers me that it's taken so long to get to where we are. We've still got so far to go." I said, "Oh, I want to tell you something. You know, I say these personal things because you never know who's going to get in the back of your car. But I can honestly say that you're one of the most honest, accepting, respectful people that I've ever come across. Most people would turn their noses up straight away, but not you, you know? I didn't even have to tell you that I'm vegan. I said, vegan? You can fuck right off." Having that. It's, yeah, bit of fun. You've got to have a bit of fun. And I'll tell you about this. I moved to Manchester about 2 years ago to do more comedy-related things. And my dad was the one who helped me move there. And he wanted to make the moment special before we parted ways. And so, you know, he wanted to give me some fatherly advice. So he said to me, "Look, Tony, I know you're doing this comedy thing, but you must know it's not easy. For one, people might say you're not funny. People might say you're shit. Right, see you at Christmas." And, ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely fantastic. Got a great night ahead of you. I've been Tony Wright. Thank you.